think so is she supposed to
We should have.
when is your spring? Oh, no, it's the same day, this is it.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. And Carrie, you will kick us off with a roll call. Welcome to our first Human Relations Commission meeting of the 25-26 term.
Sorry, just making sure the recording was happening. Take a couple months off, I forget how to do things. So, all right, we'll go ahead and start with roll call. Commissioner Alvarez.
Here I am.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Kaplan.
Here.
Commissioner Cole.
Here.
Commissioner Hilda, please help me learn how to say your last name.
Carolina.
Here. Thank you. Commissioner Pickett.
Here.
And we'll note that Commissioner Tanimi is absent tonight. I'll also note that we've got Jasmine Garcia, our ex officio from DJUSD here, and Michael Villalobos is not able to be here this evening, and Kate will be here for part of the meeting.
All right, excellent. And as the returning from last year vice chair, I am facilitating the meeting tonight, and you will see on the agenda we will be electing new leaders in the future of this meeting, and so we'll see who is in charge of the next meeting. Let me ask for an approval of the agenda, if anybody is willing to make that motion.
So moved.
I will second that.
All right, the agenda is approved. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor? Aye. Now the agenda is approved. All right. And item 3 is brief announcements from staff, commissioners, and liaisons. So I want to start with a few recognitions. Hispanic, Latinx, or Latine Heritage Month, which the city will be noting next week at their city council meeting, and the school board the following week, is honored between September 15th and October 15th. Apparently there are 8 different Latin American countries that celebrate their independence on either September 15th or September 16th. So that is why that timing exists. Rosh Hashanah starts the evening of September 22nd, which seems far from now, but it is also before our next meeting. And the California Native American Heritage Day is Friday, September 26th. That is the day after our next meeting, but in case you needed to do something to prepare for it, it is worth announcing right now. And finally, on Monday, we recognize Labor Day. Labor Day's origins lie in 19th century labor movement, and the idea is to recognize workers' social and economic contributions and advocate for better working conditions. I think that matches a lot of the values of the City of Davis and the HRC, so it's just worth saying we all ought to do a little something to appreciate our local unionized and non-unionized legal and maybe not even quite so legal workers this weekend for sure. Last year, I think, was a hard year for the Human Relations Commission, and I just want to appreciate all of my colleagues that are back here for another year of volunteered service. And I also want to welcome Hilda, who is here with us tonight, and we'll get a chance to introduce ourselves in a couple minutes, so we get to learn a little bit more about you. But I look forward to moving forward with the year of community building and healing and putting on the awesome events that we put on, and just trying to be a place where we can listen to all of the great things and some of the hard things about living in Davis and continue to try to make a positive impact. Carrie, do you have staff comments for us at this time?
Sure, I just wanted to make a note of a change that has happened after the agenda was published. You'll see on the agenda that we had Commissioner Jason Honig had been appointed by City Council. He respectfully had to decline his appointment just this week, and so we now have a vacancy, alternate position. The clerk's office is currently in a recruitment period for a variety of other commissions, so it could be that that alternate position is filled during this current recruitment process.
Thank you. Linda?
And I want to give you my welcome from City Council, Hilda. Thank you very much for stepping forward to serve our community like this, and thank you as well to our folks over there. Thank you both for giving your time to our community like this. as our chair said, or our vice chair, whatever you want. As you said, this is an opportunity for us to heal together and going forward here. And I look forward to working with you in bringing our community together and not tearing us apart. And I know this is a place for hard discussions, but also it can be a place for healing discussions. And so I look forward to working with you together and doing that. And then council will have your back as well in bringing forward the community events that you do and such. So thank you for the time you're putting into this. Hang in there. Thanks.
Thanks, Linda. And now we open it up to any commissioner comments you'd like to kick off the meeting with.
I will say thank you for mentioning that September, our upcoming month will be Hispanic Heritage Awareness Month. I also want to point that it is also Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. For any folks struggling with that, it's something that we want to keep in mind as well, and make folks aware.
Thank you, Felix, for bringing that up. We are also recognizing that proclamation on Tuesday evening as well at City Council.
All right, seeing no further comments, and we'll get plenty of chances to talk later in the meeting. We move on to item number 4, which is public comment. So at this time, any member of the public may address the commission on matters which are either not listed on the agenda or are listed on the consent calendar. And if you can't stay and you want to comment on an item on the agenda, we would allow that, but then we ask that you please do not make the same comment during that agenda item. So speakers will be limited to 3 minutes, and I believe we have a timer ready to go. Okay, and so we will start with public comment.
Good evening, Alan Hirsch. I'll remind you again that we have lawn signs available in the farmer's market. Love your neighbor sign, and wherever you're from, glad you're your neighbor, available in the farmer's market. We need them out in the community to make it all welcoming, especially with the new students from all over the world coming back. We should make them feel welcome. This is our day this way. We should be positive. And being positive, I am really, again, I've expressed it in the past, that are focused on hate-free. Hate. The only way to fight hate is with love. So maybe we should rename our program. You can't not think of an elephant. If you want to think about love, you want to think about inclusiveness, we should be renaming the program. And we should be focusing on being positive and being welcoming and being inclusive and not being little identity groups that we meet separately. We need to come together as a community. It is really, really precious. I was reminded of the Irish problem. The Irish were part of the United Kingdom. And Ireland had representation in the British Parliament, but it wasn't enough. Just being part of a democracy is not enough. We need to be inclusive. We need to have an attitude toward other people who are different. And that's what we need to change. And it is so precious we have something in Davis. And I'm afraid we're losing it. We need to work together. We all need to bend and break and listen and hear one another and acknowledge we all have stories to tell. There are stuff happening in the world. People are traumatized by what's happening in the Middle East. We aren't going to solve that. We need to figure out how to put guardrails on our discussion, how we live together in our community, how do we respect one another. And that's what hate we should work on, not just fighting hate. Everybody knows what Holocaust is. Everyone knows we'll be teaching the Holocaust for a long time. That's not worked. It has failed. We need to teach love. We need to teach positivity. We need to work with interfaith efforts. That's what we need to be focusing on. So I think we need to have a shift in attitude, because fighting hate is not going to work. We need to basically promote love. So that's my urge this evening. And you can come down to the farmer's market and start by picking up one of the signs. And in that effort, I hope that animates your discussion this evening. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you for, again, returning and continuing this hard but important work in our community.
Thank you for your comment. All right, I see no further public comment at this moment. And Carrie, do we have any written comments this evening?
We do do not have any written comments from the members of the public, please.
Okay, all right. We will move on to item number 5, our consent calendar. These are matters that are considered routine, and the only thing on our consent calendar is the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which are attached in the packet. And so I'm looking for anybody who is willing to suggest that we should approve those minutes as are, or let us know if there's anything that does not seem correct in those minutes.
I would move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes? Swimming right along. All right, we move into item 6, which is our regular items. We start today, because it is our first session of the 25-26 year, with commissioner introductions. These could be long or short, without any structure or framing. So I think the framework of kind of a brief introduction, as we do have items to cover, but make sure to share something you do in terms of trying to further human relations in the city of Davis, or something that you would like to do as part of this commission. And so, maybe volunteers to go first for introducing yourself. Oh wait, public comment? Let me invite public comment, now that I've said what we're going to do it, if there is any public comment on our commissioner introductions. Could have been. Okay, now, would any commissioner like to go first to introduce yourself?
I'll start. Just get us going. Hi, I'm Kevin. I have been a member of the commission since 2022. I've lived in Davis for about 10 years. My partner is a professor at UC Davis. And we have a really cool dog named Bodhi. I'm currently retired. I worked as a lawyer on civil rights and civil liberties issues, both in private law practice as well as national nonprofit law firms. Also was the political director for the ACLU at the state capitol, and served as counsel for the Assembly Judiciary Committee in the state legislature. So in addition to the HRC, my other volunteer work now is handling legal aid cases for poor people with legal services in Northern California. I also work as a mediator with the YOLO Conflict Resolution Center, and I'm on the board of directors of the statewide organization of human relations organizations like this. There's a whole association, because there's an association for everything, right? So that's my brief introduction.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay. Hi, I'm Felix. I have been on the HRC since 2024 now, I believe. Wow, time flies. Let's see, I have lived in Davis for 6, almost 7 years. We moved here because we had heard such great things about the community. We had friends that lived here and loved it, and talked very well about it. So, especially the schools, which was a big, which is, I think I heard your name maybe dropped a couple times, which was great because we have 2 little ones, one who just started 1st grade, and the other one who is, will be joining the DJUSD family soon. I'm a first responder. I work as a paramedic. I have for the past 13 years in the county of Yolo, responding to a variety of emergencies. I have also taught paramedic schools and programs. So I'm an instructor. I have done some community outreach with the company that I work with, and that was sort of my introduction to reaching out to the community. And then I heard about the HRC, which made me want to join. I believe in the message. Other than that, I'm married. My wife is a social worker who is also very much interested in advocacy and human rights and human relations. And so it's something that we share amongst each other. So, happy to be here, happy to be back, and want to continue some work.
Thanks, Felix.
We can go down the line here. Hello, my name is Ellie Kaplan. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a PhD candidate in the history department at UC Davis. I think, hopefully, final year, very exciting dissertation writing. My dissertation looks at how the National Park Service implemented a federal disability civil rights law from the 1970s to the present. And likely will have a very different epilogue than what I assumed I would have originally. I've lived in Davis since 2018, and I've been on the commission since last year. I was an alternate, and now very excited to be a full member of this commission. Based on my research, I'm very interested in disability issues, integrating access as opposed to thinking about accommodations. And since 2020 and the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, really interested in public health and equity issues around clean air and safety and health and those types of things. I'm also teaching my first class that I'm like the lead instructor on this summer, so my brain is a little foggy right now. So I think that's enough. I'm very happy to be here for another year and excited to work with you all again.
Thanks, Ellie.
My name is Amir Cole. I've been a resident here in Davis since 2008, so it's a while ago. 17 years. We grew. We have 3 daughters, all went to the Davis school system. Oldest one is already in college, hard to believe. It's my second year here on the HRC, and I'm a professor at the School of Economics.
Thanks, Amir. And Hilda, I think you can't wait any longer.
My name is Hilda. I have been in Davis for about 8 years. I have 3 kids. Well, they're not kids, they're adult kids. One of them graduated from Davis High School, and another one, the middle one, graduated from UC Davis. And then they went to UC Berkeley, all of them. So they deserted UC Davis. My background is in education, so I got my educational leadership degree from the Education University of Hong Kong. And I got my master's in information technology and information systems from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Then I moved into, life took me to different countries, different states, and then I realized that social justice is something that I'm interested to pursue. So right now I work for a nonprofit organization in Sacramento as a program director for wellness and health and wellness for mostly refugees. I was teaching for a while, university level, and one course that really shaped my perspective on life in general is theory of knowledge, which is what do you know and how do you know it? And these questions I always take with me whenever I have a very strong opinion about something, because you really need to reflect on how do you know something. So then when I was, attending some of the meetings here, I thought that maybe we need to have more community involvement, people who are on the fringes, people who are sitting silent, and I was one of them. I thought that I need to be engaged, and I would like to encourage people to be engaged in the community and to create dialogue and to create or foster trust between people so that they are able, to have a space where people feel safe to express their opinions. So that's why I joined. And I really feel very welcome, so thank you very much. And I'm very appreciative to be here.
Thanks, Helga. Nice to meet you. So I'm Lainey Pickett. I teach high school here in Davis at Da Vinci High School, 9th grade ethnic studies and senior government and economics. And I have been in Davis like 26 years, which I know because my oldest child is 25. And both my kids went all the way through the Davis schools and still live in Davis, one going to Sac State and one going to UC Davis. And I feel very grateful to be part of the city and for everything that my family got, and that my kids liked it enough here to not want to run away after they graduated high school. I am really, really appreciative of that. And I go to the Unitarian Universalist Church, and we do like a lot of advocacy and social justice work there. And otherwise, I think I just participate mostly in social justice work by trying to, Kate Snow's here, so I can't say I brainwash the next generation, but trying to encourage out-of-the-box thinking and justice-related thinking in my classes. And I'm just, even though I knew you all and I read some things about you, just hearing all of our wisdom and expertise and areas of connection and knowledge in this space, it's kind of a little overwhelming, and I feel very proud to be part of a group of such, well-established community members that are willing to give their time to sit here and do this. So I really look forward to being here. Yes, and could we have our ex officio members introduce yourselves real quick?
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm a senior. I go to Davis Senior High School, and I've just been really involved in civic government. I've been on multiple boards across the county, and I thought this one was particularly interesting, especially being a DJUSD ex officio, which I haven't represented DJUSD as much. So I'm really glad to be here and give my insights as a student.
I'm really glad you're here. I'm Kate Snow. I'm the coordinator of school climate for Davis County Unified School District. I moved to Davis the same time you did, Amir, in 2008. I started working for the schools pretty soon after that, but started in this position maybe 2012 or 2013, which is when I began to then represent the district on commission. The work I do for this job is, if it can be put into something short, it is that I help the district get better at making environments conducive to learning for all students and conducive to working for all adults. And I guess I include in that sense of conducive the idea of growing, that we can all grow and learn no matter what we're doing, and that we all deserve humanity and to have our dignity respected and upheld. So I do that in a variety of ways, but a couple of the, I oversee the annual surveys of students, families, and staff on school climate, but I also oversee the Native American Education Program, and I work closely with the multilingual in language justice and family partnership program with restorative practices and those kinds of things too. So my heart of hearts is with humans. So I think that we're pretty awesome beings, and we all get tripped up, and I'm glad to be in a place where we can look at both what's problematic and what's terrific and boundless about us as people who can keep learning and growing and are found by our relationships with each other in this particular way in a town, in a geographic space that we all inhabit together. So I love being part of this and look forward to another year. Thanks.
Thanks, Kate. All right, I think we should just continue and at least have our staff and our esteemed council member do a brief introduction for us. It doesn't feel right now.
She's the best.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Lisa Dominguez. I'm a deputy city clerk here at the City of Davis. I've been here for, 7 years? Yeah. I've been in the clerk's office for about 5 years. I've been staffing the commission with Carrie since the spring. I think that's right. I do, work in the clerk's office, do a lot of clerk things for our city clerk and our other deputy. Of course, I work with council, and of course, I do the commission administration, so you probably saw me with your commission applications, potential interviews, and all things and all that, so, yeah.
I'm Linda. I've been on the council since November. I'm the newest member of the city council. 2008 was a big year. That's the year that I moved to Davis. So, seems to be the year. I moved here with my wife who's here. She's been here since 86. And so I like her house. I like all that. So moved here to be with her, and I've been very happy to be here. I first got involved here in Davis things by being on the personnel board. There actually is a Davis personnel board. And then from there, I was on the Davis Utilities Commission, the Planning Commission. I chaired the Democratic Party for Yolo County, Health Council for the county, various things. Now I'm on council. My day job, I'm a bankruptcy attorney. So I help out small businesses and individuals going through financial hardship and get them through that process to the other side, and ideally keep those businesses going and the people they employ. So it's an honor to be here and to be your liaison, and I look forward to the coming year and see where we all go together. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Dyer. I moved to Davis in 1991 for school, so I've been here quite a long time. I started working for the city in 1997, so I just hit my 28th year mark and have done many, many different jobs for the city, all of them pretty much involving community, and I think that's my true love is working with the people, and I do that in a variety of ways for my job. I sort of, everyone laughs, I'm the other. My job is other. I just had to look it up. I have been working with the Human Relations Commission since 2016, so quite a long time. Before that, I worked with our Public Art Commission. In addition to all of the things that I do for HRC, I work with our Neighborhood Services Program. I work with our sister cities. I work with our community events and a variety of other things. I have 2 children who also went through the school district, and one is back at home attending Sac State for her credential program, and I have another one at San Francisco State. So always a pleasure to work with you guys, and I am so appreciative of the work and the dedication that you all put in to our community. I also live here and benefit from the work you do. So thank you.
I would be very remiss. My daughter would kill me. I'm going to be a grandmother in October, so that's very important. So, a new role.
All right, and still making it to the next item under time. So nicely done, everyone.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we move on to all of those important business items, usually we have a regular item on reporting grievances. Are we going to have that? Or because I don't see it on the agenda.
It is not on the agenda, and it would have been smart of me to mention that so that during commissioner comments, we could have said something about that at that time. So as of right now, it is not on the agenda, and I think we'll be interested in feedback from people about that. But that would probably need to be a scheduled agenda item to discuss that. And so.
Discuss the long-range calendar.
Long-range calendar, thank you. Okay, so yes, but you're right, it is not on the agenda right now.
It's not going to be moving forward, so the appropriate place for that would be commissioner comments.
Commissioner comments and public comment would both be times for the public and for commissioners to be able to say things. And we could put it on the long-range calendar to talk about putting it back if we want to. Carrie, looks like you want to say something?
Yes, I think I just wanted to piggyback on that, especially for this meeting. Amir, anybody can speak during general public comment, but as part of our brainstorming discussions, we're starting off, all of our subcommittees have concluded, and we're brainstorming tonight for new things. So I think the thought tonight would be to do some sort of introductory business type items, and then as part of the brainstorming conversation, that can be one of the items as to, is that something we want to include having every meeting? Is it something we want to consider having quarterly, those kinds of things. So I think during the brainstorming conversation, item, whatever that one is, F, we can discuss this a little bit further.
Yep, and would that be the place to bring such an event?
Yeah, you can, why don't you go ahead, why don't we pause this right now and talk about it a little bit more as we get to that brainstorming item to see how we want to set our meeting agendas for the upcoming year.
Perfect, and I'll be happy to explain more at that item in the right place at the right time. Kevin?
I just have one question, and I think it's a question for Carrie. With respect to whether there's been any outreach, or whether we should be doing any outreach to the university student ex officio is, I think, currently vacant. I just was wondering if we've heard anything, or should we say something, or?
I haven't heard anything, but why don't we also talk about that in item S, and that will be our sort of catch-all as we brainstorm what we're going to be doing for the upcoming year. I think we can maybe also talk about ways that we could connect with the UC Davis student at that time.
They do have like an official ex officio member still on the.
Yes, it's vacant right now
Right.
after Daniel resigned last year. So I just want to make sure we're staying sort of on agenda.
All right, so we move on to item 6B, which is elections for chair and vice chair. So it is part of the new, it has historically been that often chairs and vice chairs would serve from January to December on a calendar year. And because we take a break in the summertime, we elect new commissioners in the summertime, it makes a lot more sense to do these elections at this time of year at our first meeting back. So I think that that is to be the plan from here forward. And so right now, I want to first take any public comment related to this issue, and then we will vote for chair, vice chair, have discussion first if people want to talk about it, have a vote hopefully, and move forward with a plan for the year. So open to public comment. Item 6B, elections for chair and vice chair.
This is kind of Saturday morning, Monday morning quarterbacking, but I wished in your introductions, and this was what might have helped the election too, if you'd said what other groups you were networked in. Because what this forum really is about coming together and sharing our networks and building community. And I think that's really important. We share that. If you're involved with interfaith or your synagogue or your mosque or whatever, that's really important. That's something you bring into the room, and we should make that. You should make that visible to your fellow commissioners. I hope that comes out in your discussions, and I hope you have a chairman who is very well networked. Thank you.
We are currently on a specific item, which is electing a chair and a vice chair.
Oh, okay.
So that would be what
I
public.
have one comment on your, I think I went to your website. I want to know, is there like celebration for the UC Davis 100 years? Because that's passed in 2011. I just want to make sure.
Very outdated. Could you maybe talk to one of our city staff about that?
Yes, right now we're having public comment for our election for chair and vice
sure.
chair. And so we can speak about it later if you like.
Okay. I just want to make sure, the 100 year has already passed, and there's no need to spend money to there.
Thank you. All right, so let's open it up to discussion amongst the people here. You are welcome to nominate people for either chair or vice chair. You are welcome to nominate yourself for either chair or vice chair, and we will discuss it until we have come to a decision. So, at your will.
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
I'm not the chair. so-
You're acting chair?
Acting facilitator.
Chair. You're doing a great job.
Take a seat, so you get the title.
Okay.
I would like to nominate co-chairs. And I would suggest that you and I might be able to do that well together. So that would be my proposal.
Open to discussion amongst other people. I'm willing to do that. I'm also willing to support somebody else if they're interested in a leadership role or another nomination.
I'm just curious, so how would a co-chair position work, and why do we need that? How is it different from a vice?
May I hop in real quick?
That would be great.
Thank you. It does state in the Commissioner Handbook that co-chairs are allowed. I will say, it's probably been 5 or 6 years now, but the HRC did previously have co-chairs for a long number of years. And the way that, in answer to Amir's question, the way that it worked was that each co-chair took a meeting and they alternated back and forth. We would have to have one person presiding over a meeting, but it would work fine if you wanted to alternate each month, if that is the direction that you guys go in. So that is something that is doable and has been done previously.
And then Carrie, otherwise, it would
comment?
be, it would be similar to how it was last year when Kevin was chair and I was vice chair. We met with you to plan the agenda, and instead of just Kevin running all the meetings, we would alternate, but of course it wouldn't be a huge systemic change from what we had last year.
And just, if I might clarify, I think that could be absolutely a fine approach. I don't think it's the only one, and I noticed that the handbook mentions that there are other ways that chairs and co-chairs might work together, and I think it would just be for us to work out as we wish.
I do think it would be important if you do go the route of co-chairs, that it's established right now as to how that will work so that everybody is comfortable with that direction.
Yeah, I believe the handbook also mentioned rotating chairs, which is another possibility. I'll say this though, I support the either the current model of chair and vice chair or the co-chairs. I'll be, I have no interest in being a chair, so I'll put that out there. And I don't like the idea of rotating chairs because eventually it'll be my turn.
I'll follow up and say I also like the idea of co-chairs. I think, as has been kind of like referenced a few times, last year was tough. And I mean, even just the length of some of our meetings was really long. And I think that having more of a dual support at the top, and both of you are already used to kind of like planning these agendas together. So if that is something you both are open to, I think it could be a really great system for us for this year. And I also don't think we should do rotating chairs. We don't need that.
Co-chair,
Co-chair, I think it's a good idea.
I'm looking at your face, Amir. Do you have any other questions, or do you feel comfortable with it? Are you throwing your own hat in the ring? Are you nominating anybody else? Okay, well, I am happy to do that. And I like the idea of just alternating meetings. The assumption would then be if one person was sick and couldn't attend, then the other person would cover, right? And otherwise, just
Yes, of course.
meetings. If you think it's important to clarify so that everybody knows what they're voting on, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think once you guys finish your discussion, maybe a formal motion with a second and identifying sort of how you think that would work would be helpful.
Kate?
Not to cause trouble, and it's easier to speak here from the ex officio level, but I fully respect people's desire not to have a rotating chair position, and I think the co-chair is a fine structure. I just want to remind us that when one does have a rotating chair position, it does begin to build people's capacity to take on leadership, and so not to be so afraid of it. But I think having co-chairs is a fine thing. Just thinking that everyone here is quite capable of being a chair.
Thanks, Kate, and I agree with you 100%. All right, if there's not further discussion, we are looking for a motion and a second.
I'll motion. Do I do it for co-chairs with Kevin and Lainey? That is my motion.
I will second that motion.
Are you motioning for co-chairs to alternate meetings or something different?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Carrie seems to approve of the language of the motion, which is very important. And so all in favor? All against? All abstaining?
I'll abstain.
All right, and the motion passes. We will move on to continuing our setting up of the year with item 6C. And this is going to be designating a Hate-Free Together liaison. And that is, as I hope everybody knows, the part of what the City Council has asked us to do is to somehow have a relationship with Hate-Free Together on behalf of the city, although there are city employees that are on Hate-Free Together as staff members, so we wouldn't be an integral part of the Hate-Free Together process, and Kate already is here as a school district representative on Hate-Free Together. So the position is to be a liaison whenever Hate-Free Together would like to connect with the Human Relations Commission in some way. And so the proposal is that we would elect somebody to be in that position for this year. I think Carrie and I reflected and realized having an alternate would also be a good idea. And let me go ahead and accept public comment first, and then I will tell you one particular event that we have already been invited to, so you can just consider that as you're considering your interest in this liaison position. Public comment.
Alan Hirsch, and I urge you to put someone there who will be a change agent. Again, I urge you to basically move away from hate, fighting hate, to basically be more positive, full of hate-free. I think there's a strategic plan about this, and we need to change it. Stop talking about the negative, stop talking about the positive, stop talking about bringing groups together. I think it's a change agent. We need a cultural change, because talking about hate all the time is not working. Thank you very much. Please elect someone who is a strong change agent.
I don't even think we need to keep the clock. This will be short. My name is Scott Stewart. I'm a longtime Davis resident. I would like to just suggest, along the lines of the previous commenter, that it be love together rather than hate-free together. I think it's a simple but very important change. I know the artists that were involved in some of the program where they were implementing had a hard time with that name. I think it really is something of a branding issue. So thank you.
All right, seeing no further public comment, I would love to ask Kate and/or city staff if you want to tell us anything else about what you might expect this liaison position to include, what might be expected of the person filling that role, what might be skills we're looking for in that person, anything that could be useful before we discuss amongst ourselves.
So I represent the school district on the executive committee, which is comprised of representatives from the county governance, YCO, what you will call County Office of Education, the city of Davis, UC Davis. Those are the main partners. And what's mostly the focus of the activity after the initiative got in place and a website was made is this creation of this summit that's happening in October, which is an opportunity for the large institutions which have created this to work with community organizations and individuals and institutions in order to really map out where the resources are, where the gaps are, how we can all work better together, large institution and local institutions, in order to create a community that we all want to live in. And that is being facilitated by Yola Conflict Resolution Center and a contracted partner with them, who's a strategic planner kind of organization. After the summit was really, the intent is to come up with a strategic plan that's very community-based. And then from there, a liaison would attend the summit, which is October 16th, and a day-long event on October 16th. And then I think it would remain to be seen how the strategic plan would roll out, but presumably there would be an ongoing attendance to the various pieces of the plan, whether they are about tracking incidents or helping create funding structures for nonprofits or all kinds of other things that would potentially be involved. So it's hard to imagine a big heavy lift, except there's that one day, October 16th, and then potentially some ongoing meeting, maybe once a month meeting kind of attendance, but it's still to be known. That helps.
Okay, so it seems like since the October 16th summit, which is a full day long, is kind of a heavy part of the lift, we might want to check calendars.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Staff Carrie, do you want to add anything?
No, I appreciate Kate saying that, and just for a reminder for everybody, I just pulled up because I wanted to remember the language in terms of the function for the HRC, which is served as the lead commissioner regarding the city's community engagement component of the Hate Free Together initiative. So a lot of, I think, what would be tasked is if there are things that Hate Free Together is really hoping for help with their community engagement piece of it, in addition to other activities where they might, or events or et cetera, that they might want to reach out and have a voice of the commission.
All right, let's open it up to commissioner discussion. Do we have interest in being that liaison? Do we have more questions about what the position involves or what the purpose would be?
So I actually considered that, but unfortunately, I'm already booked that day, so I won't be able to be that person.
So we talked about having an alternate as well, so I don't know should we proceed with a person and an alternate person?
If we can, based on that, and I'll also know, I'm not sure of Dina's availability on that specific date, but she did indicate interest if that worked for everybody, that she would also be willing, didn't have to, but would be willing to take on that role as well. Again, I don't know her availability on that specific date, so it does maybe seem like a regular and an alternate would be a good way to go.
Mm-hmm. And Erin, on the side of somebody here who knows that they're available on that date, could be ideal. I'll wait.
I just checked my calendar and I'm not available on that date.
I am available.
Are you, at your very first meeting, are you getting a picture of what that, like, are you familiar with Hate Free Together, and do you have a sense of what you might be signing up for?
I read about it, but I probably need a little bit more of information on it.
You're interested?
I'm interested, yes.
Okay. I appreciate that interest. Any other? Okay, so we have Dima not here, but we know would be potentially interested. We don't know availability for that particular date, which seems important. Hilda is willing and here and available on that date. Amir would be interested in the position, but is not available on that date. I think we should proceed with appointing a representative and an alternate, given those three names are the ones we have discussed. Does anybody want to propose who the actual liaison would be for us?
So just to clarify, the alternate would be, so they would again, like one meeting, one person goes, the other meeting, the second person goes, or how does that work, the alternate?
I think, Carrie could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm picturing like if the main person can't go to something, then the alternate would go in their place. Like when we have an alternate on the HRC, if somebody's not there, then they vote, but if everybody is there, they don't vote. So I think the main person would try to go to October 12th, 16th, and then any future meetings, but if they weren't able to, they would tap in the alternate to go. And maybe, I mean, who knows what the strategic plan says, but maybe it would be appropriate for both of them to attend some things together or to keep each other in the loop, certainly. Kevin?
Just a question. Does this decision need to be made tonight? Because if not, I'm wondering if Dima and Hilda might get together and talk and see what their respective interests and availability might be, and then we can bring it back.
I think there was a desire from Hate Free Together to have somebody just because of the upcoming summit. With that being said, Kevin, you know, we could push to the September meeting because the summit isn't until after that. So preference would be for tonight, but it's not an absolute.
And I think given that we have people that are
Yeah, I feel like we've got
interested and
people interested.
available, we could probably proceed. So I think we could proceed to either somebody could propose both the first and an alternate, or we could just go ahead and approve the original liaison and then vote on an alternate. I'm willing to entertain motions.
I guess actually, my question for Hilda would be, do you have a preference to be the main person or the alternate?
I prefer to be the alternate.
That is really good to know. I propose we make Hilda the alternate. That would be my motion.
Second.
Okay, I
Sorry.
want to push back on that because then we do not have, given that we don't know Dima's availability, then we do not have, oh, I guess if she's the alternate, then she would go, okay.
Yes.
So you'd be more comfortable being the alternate.
Yeah.
Amir, you can't be the primary person because you can't go.
No, that's fine.
That's fine, okay. All right, so how about at this moment, we only work with the people that are here and available, and your proposal was, again?
Yeah, okay, so I propose that we make Dima the liaison and Hilda the alternate for the Hate Free Together liaison.
I will second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all opposed? All abstentions? I guess when we all say aye to the first one, I don't come to do the other two. I'm learning. Okay. All right, excellent. Check that item off the list, and we move on to another appointment. This would be a commissioner appointment to the Campus Council on Community and Diversity. And this is a role that Edgar filled for us for a good while. And it is a role that Michael Villalobos, if he was here, would be able to tell us more about, and he is not here. So let me go ahead and take public comment on this item, if there is any. And then, Carrie, if you can just prepare to tell us whatever it is you know. If anybody else knows anything else about what this would require of a person, that would be very helpful. Public comment on item 6D. Seeing none, Carrie, what can you tell us about what this position might look like?
I also wish Michael was here tonight to fill us in. So I don't know much. What I can say is that this is a UC Davis or a group, and we have council direction to have a liaison to this campus council and on community and diversity group. So as Lady mentioned, Edgar has been doing this for the past couple of years. I do believe that they operate on a school year, so I think that the first meeting would probably be in either late September or October, and typically goes through May, and then they take a summer break. My brief understanding from Edgar is that I don't think it was a huge commitment. I don't even believe that the meetings were monthly, but maybe more quarterly. Don't quote me on that. But I do believe it was participating in things like decision-making on the community-wide book project and things like that. And so the commitment from the liaison would be to attend those meetings as they can, and if you can't, maybe check in with Michael, and then report back to the commission with any happenings, any things we need to know, etc. If anybody else knows more than that, please feel free to jump in.
I just on the website, it says that they are an advisory body to the chancellor and the provost and the executive vice chancellor that is concerned with strengthening and maintaining the bonds of community at UC Davis toward a more diverse, inclusive, and equitable campus climate. And the thing that I notice is often we discuss things that might have implications at UC Davis or things that happen at UC Davis that have implications in the city. So it does seem like a really nice liaison position to have. And I think since school may not even start until after our next meeting, there's a possibility, if somebody is not interested, that we could push this to our next meeting. But I also think maybe this is enough information for somebody to be interested, so let's hear from commissioners.
I'm interested.
Okay,
I'm also interested.
okay. Do we know if this is a situation where we can have an alternate, or?
That I'm not aware of. I know that it is a city appointment, and I would say that based on how we sort of operate here with our alternate ex officio positions with the schools, I think we could probably propose something like that.
Okay. I think given two people with very close ties to UC Davis with interest in the position.
I'm happy to be an alternate.
Yeah?
That would be great, partially because we don't even know when the meetings are yet. So I think that would be really nice to be able to have another person who can still report back and keep that up. So I like that one.
So we require a motion now?
Yes, unless there's further discussion.
Right.
Go
So
for it.
a motion for Ellie to be the main liaison and for Amir to be the alternate liaison for the campus council.
Second.
All right, we have a second from Kevin, thank you, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I won't ask the other two questions because I am learning. All right, so Carrie, is there a way you could facilitate communication with Michael or with somebody to just?
Yes, I was just writing that as a note for myself to go ahead and email Michael, and I'll include Ellie and Amir on that so that they can have whatever communication they need.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you both for being willing to do that. We move on to item 6E as we continue to shape our work for the year at this very first meeting. And 6E will be creating our 3 planning committees. So there are 3 specific events, 2 events and 1 award, that we are tasked specifically with doing by the city council. These are things we do every year. We do them well, I must say. And my thought is that there are many, I don't know that we've always started all 3 committees right now at the beginning of the year, but I have reasons that I think, in discussion with Carrie, in discussion with Linda, in discussion with Kevin, that makes sense to go ahead and kick off all 3 of these planning committees now so that we can do these tasks as well as we possibly can. Why don't I entertain public comment on the creation of our planning committees for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, the Cesar Chavez recognition event, and the Tom Kai Quinn Award Review Committee. Public comment, please.
Alan Hirsch, know this is early, but in light of my other comments about stop segmenting the community and bringing us together, these celebrations tend to be celebrations of one particular ethnic group. We need to be use them to celebrate our togetherness. We all should celebrate. We shouldn't just have like just one community owns that, because we all own King. It's all our change. For the Chavez, we all own Chavez. He's labor rights. He's the food we eat. We need to kind of integrate. Somehow the celebrations should be less particularistic and more universalistic and bringing us together in celebrating our pluralistic society. So just some thoughts early. I know you're picking the committee, but that's seeding the pot here early on. Thank you much for listening, and thank you for your hard work.
Thank you for your comment. All right, seeing no further public comments, in honor of our new member here, and maybe just because all of us have not worked on all of these committees, I think I'll really quickly summarize what each committee does and why I think we could start working on all of them right now. And then Carrie, you're going to jump in if there's anything else that I need to say, or did you?
I can make a quick note. I just wanted to let people know that you might notice the change in the term subcommittee to planning committees. That was done very strategically because we do like to often and should be including members of our various community groups to be on these committees if we want to, as well as our ex officios. And subcommittees are strictly for commissioners. So we are using the word planning committee so that we can move forward. And if we wanted to, for instance, have, we've had, I'm drawing a total blank on what I was going to say, but just other community groups participating in these committees. So wanted to make sure that that was noted because it's a different title than we've been using before. I do have one random note, and this is sort of an odd place to dump it, but I'm going to as we're talking about planning committees and stuff. I emailed you guys the updated commissioner handbook, and I just wanted to note as you get started, once your planning committees are designated, it is important that not that I necessarily want this, but it is required that I am CC'd on all correspondence with members of the public. So that would be any type of correspondence that you're having on any of your committees or anything else related to commissioner work. So even down to if you're going to, email somebody to ask them if they want to be a speaker or an entertainer or something like that. I just don't want to forget to say that, but it was an important thing that I read, so I'm throwing it in right here.
I'm sorry, Carrie, I appreciate you. All right, so we have these 3 planning committees, and I'll go through what each of them does, and I think I want to talk about them all 3 at the same time because we all have to be careful of our efforts and make sure that we kind of choose the 1 or 2 that we really want to put most of our efforts into. So caring about all 3 of them first would be important, I think. So the MLK Day celebration happens on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is January 19th of 2026. It happens at the Veterans Memorial. I guess that doesn't have to be the case, but it has traditionally been the case. And it is usually a program of some kind with a variety of thought-provoking speakers and entertainment. And the theme is something to do with Martin Luther King. Although the committee gets to decide what the theme should be. Last year there was an emphasis on economy because so many people said that they were voting for economic reasons, and it happened to also be Inauguration Day, was Martin Luther King Day last year. And so we focused on highlighting Black businesses and economic implications of race in our country. But this year's planning committee could choose what theme you wanted, and then you invite speakers and performers and entertainers that fit that theme. And Carrie is our wizard who invites the public. And we have, usually people on the committee are the speakers, the MCs. And if you wanted to choose somebody from the community to do that, I suppose you could. So that is an overview of MLK Day. Am I missing anything from that? Oh, there has often been also a march as part of it, either before or after, a march to a place to do a thing. Last year was to the art space. So that's another part that people really like to participate in that you have control over. All right, the Cesar Chavez.
I should mention, other than being the MC, because I found this out on the day, a few days prior, you will also participate in leading that march. So it's something to be aware of, so you have to have a strong voice. And no many chants. We had some community members that were kind enough to help us out with that and put their voice on the line to really motivate the crowd, which was really great. But yeah, it was a lovely event.
This year's committee could choose in advance, unlike last year's committee, whoops, to find somebody who was like a really good march leader, song leader, if you didn't want to take that on yourself also, but put it on your list early. So starting with that, because the date is January 19th and it takes as much time as you possibly have to put it together, we definitely want to assign that planning committee tonight and allow them to get started with the work. The Cesar Chavez event does not happen until the spring in Whereabouts. because it is not on Cesar Chavez Day.
Yeah, we often run into issue in trying to schedule that date because it falls often, and I haven't looked at the UCD or DJUC calendars this year, but it often falls during those spring breaks, which is why we've oftentimes had it later in April. And then we also run into things like picnic day, so finding the date sometimes is a little bit of a challenge depending on when spring break is. And if anybody can remember when last year's was, it was maybe a month, if not longer, after Chavez's birthday, but it was a lovely celebration nonetheless, so.
Yes, and historically that is outside in an area adjacent to the farmer's market, and it also has speakers and entertainment and a theme that usually represents something to do with labor or work or some of the messages of rights for workers that Cesar Chavez obviously would have championed. And so that is far off. And so maybe you don't feel the urgency to get into the work, but it would be nice, I think, to get those people assigned, and then to the degree that you want to get started on it, you are free to do that. Any other thing that I'm forgetting about that? All right, Tong Hai Quinn Awards are awards that, so we accept applications for those, or nominations for those awards. This has been, and then we choose who are the nominees that should be put forward to the council, and then the council decrees that it shall be so and offers the awards. And that has been done by this commission over the years in different ways, and Kate and Carrie, you will know much more than I do, but it has been done as a public discussion where the entire commission sits here and reviews all of the nominations and discusses and decides. That takes a lot of commission time and maybe is an uncomfortable situation sometimes, but has the benefit of being very transparent to the community, to anybody who nominated somebody, to the people who have been nominated. The other option that we've done the years that I've been on so far has been having a planning committee like this that reviews the nominations and discusses and chooses for the 3 different categories that we offer: community, individual, and youth. And then they kind of bring it forward to the commission, and the whole commission basically accepts their suggestion and votes to approve it, hopefully, given that we trust each other and we appreciate those people doing the work. That has drawn some attention for not being as transparent. And of course, it doesn't allow the wisdom of everybody here to participate, or maybe you know some of these people, maybe. Also, we have traditionally not gotten as many applicants or nominations as we might have liked. There are so many good people doing good work in this community. And so it was a thought that if we got this committee assigned earlier and started earlier, there could be the possibility of kind of rebranding it a little bit, putting QR codes around town. I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I have an idea that Linda and Carrie, you can shut down if you need to, but I wonder if other awards sometimes have other benefits that go alongside them. Could there be business partners that wanted to partner with the city and offer a little stipend of some kind, a little financial award or benefit of some kind that goes with that? I think there are things that could be developed in light of those awards where we could get a lot more applicants. We could maybe bring them to a little bit higher level of interest to people. And again, I made that up. I don't know if that's really a thing, but the committee would be able to reflect on that and decide if my idea is terrible or not. But it does seem like with a little bit more leeway, there could be some rethinking that could really solidify our process around that and the positionality of that in the larger community, so more people know about it and really want to nominate toward it. Anything else about that, Kevin?
Oh, I was just going to endorse that suggestion. I have heard from people who have an interest in applying for that award, and I've noticed that it sort of doesn't have that recognition that goes with it, and I think it's a great idea.
It's a really nice moment in front of the city council, and people bring their families and they take pictures, and I mean, it really is lovely. But there are ways that we could even make it even more lovely, I think. Okay, so those are, oh, sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to make one note. Over the past couple of years, I just wanted to note that in addition to the night that the WIN Awards are presented to the City Council, we are also oftentimes presenting the Environmental Recognition Awards and the Golden Heart Awards. So just want to make that note. I don't think environmental awards landed at the same night last year, but they oftentimes will. And we will most likely do Golden Heart Awards at the same time. So as we're considering incentives and those kinds of things, something to keep in mind.
I see, got it. Okay, thank you. All right, so all of those take a fair amount of work, and it would not be my suggestion, although you are the boss of your time and energy, that anybody is on all three of those. I do think it is ideal to have 3 commissioners on any given one, but it could be just 2. And so I think now is just open time for discussing which ones you're most interested in, throwing your hat in the ring for things, and seeing if we can kind of sort out amongst ourselves how we might communally form these committees in a way that is a little bit equitable and puts people toward their best passion. So, open to discussion.
Question for the chair.
I don't have a chair.
As you noted, I think, earlier, maybe just briefly in passing, but I think I heard it, that the presentations that we've put on have been really quite good. And I just want to note that I think you personally have had a role in the MLK event in particular. And I think that Felix and I think Amira were involved also. And I can't remember if there were others or not, but I almost want to like ask that band to get back together and do what you did so well last year. So just as an opening thought, I would just note that it was a really wonderful work last year.
Thank you, Kevin.
I want to like ruin your dream, mostly because I think the MLK Junior Committee is the only one I can do, given the timing, and the fact that March and April will probably be frantic editing time. So I am being proactive and taking myself out of any big events that are happening in the spring.
All right, here, Ellie expressing interest for MLK. Anybody else? What are you most excited and interested in?
So I'd be happy to be on the Tongue Board, and I'm happy to, if needed, I can also do the MLK Day for Cesar Chavez. I'm not going to be available.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. I definitely heard you for Tom Hyquin, and then you're willing for MLK also. Okay, great.
Carrie, you noted that Tima had expressed interest in some things.
Yes, she also said that if the commission decides tonight, would be willing to participate in the Tom Highland committee.
Okay, excellent. And anybody else? I'd be really excited to do MLK again. It'll be my 3rd year doing it, so there is some benefit to having done it before. But if other people are really excited about it, either of the other 2 things would be perfectly entertaining and interesting and growing opportunities for me. So I'd rather let other people pick their choices first.
I want to extend an invitation for our new member to, let us know if she would like to be in any of these. Before I commit, there's only one spot left on the MLK, and I don't want to jump and take it if that's something that you would be interested in participating in.
I would like to join the Cesar Chavez.
Great, I'll join you on the MLK then. Yeah, that was a really nice event. It'd be nice to bring some of those speakers back and do that again. That was really fun. In March, of course. I think, Ellie, you said that you like to chant, right?
I heard that.
Constantly, that's really what I know.
I think I heard that.
Okay.
Thank you very much for thinking of me.
Absolutely.
So Kevin, where do you want to throw your hat in the ring?
Oh, I confess that, as I think I noted in my introduction, I have absolutely no experience with event planning. I'm just no lawyer, but I'll fit in where needed.
Does that make you a better fit for the awards? Or does that fall under event planning? All right, so far we got Hilda alone on Cesar Chavez, so that's probably not reasonable for our new member. I could
Maybe I
join
should.
in on
I
that.
was going to say, if there's a need there, I'm happy to.
And I will say there is no event planning skills necessary because I got your back on all of that. You guys come up with the theme and the recommended speakers. I can do the planning side of things.
Dima was on that as well last year. Did she mention whether or not she'd be interested in doing that again?
She didn't indicate one way or the other, so you guys can do what you want on that.
We will, how many members do we have? We have 7 members now at this point without an alternate. So that would be 2, if we each only do 1, that would be 2 on each committee, and 1 committee will have 3. So if anybody's interested in doubling up so that we have more than 2 people on a committee, that might be good.
Can I propose something?
Sure.
So I think, given the timing, we should definitely set the MLK Junior group right now, but maybe we could wait to fully set the other 2 until Dima's here and can say whether or not she's even available. And we won't know when we'll get an alternate, right? Like, that could be months from now.
I'm not quite sure what the process is at right now. What are we looking at, Lisa? Recruitment, a few months?
Yes, we have a current recruitment going on. It does not include the Human Relations Commission because it wasn't a spot available when the crewman was open. So it depends.
Because I'm allowable, for the vacancy.
Name, it's not public comment right now, but thank you. And this is for commissioner appointments, but thank you. Oh shoot, I had a thought and I left it. Oh, when an alternate is appointed, they could always join the subcommittee at that point as well.
Okay. So what I see right now, I just took notes so that I could keep it straight in my brain. I see that Ellie and Felix would like to be on MLK, and then either Amir or I are willing to be the 3rd person on that. I see Hilda and Kevin on Cesar Chavez, and that is a little ways out. So somebody who finishes MLK and wants to join Cesar Chavez could do it partway through, or if we get an alternate, then they could join Cesar Chavez. So I think it's okay to start that with 2 people. And then Tom Hai Quinn Awards, Dima is interested, and then either Amir or myself. So I think if everybody's okay with that, it's just for Amir and myself to decide which one for it. Or do you prefer MLK or Tom Hai Quinn? Okay. All right, so I will place you on Tom Hai Quinn, and that would be you.
Do you have a spot?
For which?
Oh, you've already got yourself. Okay.
I was just willing to do it if Amir preferred MLK, but if you prefer Tom Hai Quinn, I will put you there. I'll put myself on MLK. All right, so I have Ellie, Phoenix, myself on MLK. Hilda and Kevin on Cesar Chavez, and Tom Hai Quinn is Dima and Amir right now. That is everybody on one committee. They're a little bit small. And then because these are planning committees, ex officio members can be on them or can only be consultants to them.
Because they are planning committees, we can have ex officios or community members, so that would also be a great way to sort of expand or share, maybe is a better word, the workload with, outreach to other folks if they're interested.
Okay, so I will check in with our ex officio committees, knowing the rules, if there are planning committees that you would be interested in, either of you.
I'd like to be part of the Tom Hai Quinn Planning Committee.
Excellent. What, Kate? We can consult with you as helpful.
We can consult, yes.
I got you.
And you can put me on Tom Highway too.
Okay. All right, so that one just got beat. All right. Okay, I know we haven't voted on any of this yet. I just wrote it down because otherwise I wasn't going to be able to keep it straight. So shall I just go ahead and propose these one at a time? Do we feel like we've had the discussion that we need to have and have a plan here? Everybody's okay? All right. So I propose that the MLK Day Planning Committee will be Ellie Phoenix and myself. Wait, yes, can I have a second?
Lainey, if you want, you could probably lump it all into one motion.
Yeah, you feeling good about that?
Yeah.
I would love to. All right. I propose furthermore that the Cesar Chavez Event Committee will be Hilda and Kevin. And even furthermore, I propose that the Tonkai Quinn Awards will be Dima, Amir, Jasmine, and Kevin. Can I get a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, so I will not ask any further questions. We did it. We made planning committees. So those committees can talk amongst yourselves, plan your first meeting, start discussing whatever it is that, choose your coffee shop of choice and get to work, or hop on Zoom or whatever you're going to do.
And I'm sorry, one more note. I'm just thinking that if Dima is interested in the Chavez Planning Committee, then we could appoint her at a further agenda,
Absolutely.
a further meeting.
I think if anybody wants to do more work, we're not going to stop them. All right, excellent. We move on to item 6F. And this is where we might get a little bit sloppy, but we're working with a new process of our communication as a commission with the council, and we're still trying to figure out exactly how that works. But those planning committees can begin work because we already know that that is work that we have been in good communication with the council about us doing. The idea for item 6F is that we would first, I think Carrie will review for us clearly the functions of the HRC just to bring them to the forefront of our mind. And then we will proceed to brainstorm work that we might like to do together in the next year, separate from those planning committees, and see what falls into that list of work. Carrie, is it here or is it in 7 where we would discuss you said long-range calendar, but it seems like it could fit here, the removal of the hate incidents agenda item. Do you want us to put that off to the next one, or can we do it?
No, I think that this is fine. I was going to go ahead and just start by refreshing for everyone the functions of the commission. So as that you begin your brainstorming, you have these fresh in your mind, so I'll leave them up here for you to review. And then you can, as you're brainstorming, kind of what you want your work plan to be. I think that you could also brainstorm the idea of the public hate or forum on recent public hate incidents, and if that is something that you, the commission as a whole, is interested in keeping on each agenda. You could talk about maybe doing it quarterly, revising it, not doing it at all, those kinds of things. So I do think that could be part of your brainstorming discussion. But as a refresher, we've got the functions up. This is what the City Council has directed the Human Relations Commission to do, which is study and make recommendations around equity and discrimination in the city, including gathering information from affected individuals and connecting them to the appropriate agency, official, or process. B, conducting and supporting as appropriate community forums and activities to prevent and address discrimination and promote diversity, equality, and justice relevant to the goals and policies of the City Council. And then lastly, serve as the lead commission regarding the city's community engagement component of the Hate Free Together initiative.
All right, thank you very much. And let's go ahead and do public comment on this first, and then I just have a couple things to say, and we will open it up to commissioners' wildest dreams. Public comment.
Before you start the clock, you brought up something that was not on the agenda. You brought up the new commission handbook, and you said basically, anytime the commissioners talk to the public, they have to be CC'd. So I want to know, if I talk to someone here, is that a public document? And these people have been lost to privacy when they interact with the public.
The commission handbook.
That's really, don't start the clock, please. This is really important. And I want to have them formed. This is really important. You can't just drop something like this in the middle of something and not have a discussion about it.
Alan, the commission handbook does state that any commissioner engagement with the public must have staff CC'd on it.
So
And
you're enforcing that now?
that is what the commissioner handbook presented by the clerk's office states, and I just wanted to make that clear as in case the planning commission's got started. So let's move on to public comment. I'm happy to talk to you about
That's
it.
new?
I'm actually not sure if that's new or not, Alan. I'm happy to talk to you about it more after the meeting.
It's very important that be clarified.
We've almost entirely done that in the past.
So every time I send you an email, that's in the public record, so it's reachable?
If I respond to you, then I would CC Carrie because it's in my work as a commissioner.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Thank you. It's good to know. Okay, on the long-range plan, it talks about forums. I think it's very important that we have some forums on the important issues and we hear different diverse viewpoints and legitimize them. And I think that's on your charter here. And particular forum is guardrails on civil discourse. There are things you can say under First Amendment rights that are probably uncivil. We should have a discussion about that. What would those sorts of guardrails look like? We see some of that behavior that goes over the guardrails at the city council meetings. And we can't enforce that legally, but we can set a community norm. I think that would be very helpful in terms of that. So a discussion about what is civil discourse versus First Amendment discourse, and what's the real purpose of public comment periods? Because I think sometimes they're used for demonstrations and not for moving the business ahead. And you can't control it legally, but we can set some civil standards here. I think that would be a really, really important situation, because I have seen public comment periods turned into actual political demonstrations. 30 people show up and they have one particular issue and just add the thing, it's political muscle. I don't know if that's helpful in a lot of cases. I think I brought up earlier that a city does survey questions every year. There's a national survey about trust. You trust your neighbors. And we should be putting that into our city survey all the time to measure how we're doing in terms of making people feel safe in our community. That's a real metric. There's a national metric that we can compare ourselves. We should have a longitudinal study. And we should also talk about connections. How do we build connections? A format of that. Because we need to build connections across all our little silos of community, across all these identity groups. That's really important. If we're going to fight hate, we need to know each other so we know when someone says something wrong, I can talk to them before it blows up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, my name is Ning Wan. I do want to thank you for, I made a comment on your last meeting, and I was for at Ranchiolo, hurt injured so badly. And so I'm a real woman, and I do feel, the Chinese Communist Party has those, I don't think they're real women. They call them red maple grannies. They came to Ranchiolo insulting me. And I want to tell you the further is, the Ranchiolo, to make a lot of complaint, actually done a lot of the residents of Ranchiolo. Ranchiolo actually sent me a eviction notice. So I was wondering, I feel I am discriminated as a woman. And I also feel, the world has changed a lot. So I value this human relation. I want to know real human and the relation with other beings, So my name is Ning Wan. I'm the legal owner of Ning Wan Soul Club. I served as a historical resources management commission for from 2019 to 2025 this year. I just turned out in June. And I noticed you have a vacancy, and I'm very good at planner because I served as a New Chinese school for 6 years, from 2006 to 2012, and you have a lot of plannings. I am interested in joining your commission if you are open to, and I'm here to hear, what is your plan, and I feel as a woman. My human rights has been violated by those Chinese Communist Party members in our community. I believe there are 4 Chinese Communist members in our society that are Chinese. It's Wei Zhang, Wendy Zhang, and Xiong Yan. And there's another one, Shan Guo, and
Luo Ye, and another one is Jingyin Xiao. Jingyin actually is a realtor at downtown. And my name is Ning Wan. Jing is a thief, stealing money from me. And I am the granddaughter of last Chinese Empire. I'm the legal owner for New One, so probably it's a huge fund-supported city operation. But you know, my money has been stolen by those Chinese communist agents. And I get divorced, and I was forced to evict, last year in September. And now I'm facing another eviction. And I'm a dissident, so I want to join your commission, as a real woman and human. I want to save the humanity, and yeah, that's what I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. All right, seeing no further public comment, I just want to, and clarification from Linda and Carrie would be appreciated, but as we start to think about our work plan, my understanding, like having read and reread kind of the new workflow, work plan overview, is that the things that we put forward now, like I think our goal will be to kind of create a list of the things we'd like to work on this year, and the more that we can make sure that they fit our charge, make sure that they have like specific and attainable goals that we could do in a few months, or certainly not longer than the course of this year, but shorter is better, and have a really clear timeline for them, the more likely they are to be something that the council could really envision and understand and be interested in approving. So we'll create a list today, we'll try to curate it as best as we can, and then we will Carrie will put it into a format that is logical and palatable, and then it will hopefully find its way to the council at a meeting in the near future, and then the council will either approve the entire work plan or be able to tell us items that are approvable. How do you envision the next step working? Have other commissions done this already? What does this look like?
Yeah, it's just it really just depends on each commission. I mean, for example, the Planning Commission had met and had put forward some things that they wanted to work on. And it was a long list. I was like, I didn't know they had the time, but it was like, that's great. And for example, they wanted to talk about annexation of UC Davis to be part of the Planning Commission discussion there. And so some of these things came to the council and we discussed it, and we're like, yes, no, that kind of thing is how we went through it in that regard. So it really can be like that. I mean, but we definitely use this as our guide. You know, what Carrie spelled out here for us all to see kind of where we're going. And we look as well at being realistic about the time that our staff has to work on things, being realistic. And I ask you to be realistic about your time. I mean, shoot, you're putting together your thesis, various things that you're teaching, various things that you have your own, not really lockout, but you're advising on with so many people. There's a lot going on in your life, and be cognizant of that. I had to learn some balance myself. So just know that, we will take it up, and the staff report will come to us, and we take that very seriously, and, talk to the chairs and see what's going on there, and you're always welcome to reach out to me in the back. I've met with many of you already, and so happy to do so going forward if you have more questions about kind of the role of council with the work that you do. Thank you.
All right, very helpful. So my concern was we could put forward a list and one or two things on the list aren't super palatable, and then the entire list might get kicked back to us, but you're saying you would be able to kind of go through it. Okay, that's perfect. Mary, did you want to add anything before we start?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and as part of that would also be, let me just say, Kate has to step out. Thank you so much, Kate. We'll see you next month. That as part of that, also assessment would be staff research to decide what is sort of doable in terms of staff resources, and then that might be part of the recommendation as well with the work plan. So if there were financial resources involved, for whatever reason, I mean, you guys don't typically have that unless it's events, but if there were, then that would also come with part of the staff report as to, yes, these financial resources are available coming from here. Yes, staff has time to dedicate to this particular thing. Maybe this is looking like a lot right now, and so if council is interested in doing that, we might need to figure out a way to designate more staff resources, that kind of thing. So that would also be part of the recommendation.
All right, so you'll see further down in the packet, there are a list of the things we closed out last year, if you need to kind of refresh your memory about those things. And then otherwise, I think we'll just open it up to people's best ideas of how our precious energy and time might be spent this year.
Can I ask a quick process question? Sorry. So today we're coming up with like a list of topics that we are interested in. And it's almost like describing subcommittees, but not actually forming them yet. And then in an ideal world, City Council will say, all these ideas are fantastic, please continue with them. And so then in September, we would actually vote to fill the committee.
I think I understood it a little bit differently, so I'm so glad that you brought this up so we can clarify. My understanding is that tonight would be very much a brainstorming session, throwing out ideas. I bring them back to you all in September for you to really flesh them out a little bit more, come up with very specifics as to what you want specific subcommittees, et cetera, to look like. I put that together in a proposed work plan and bring it to the council after our next meeting.
And then we would vote on the actual members of those committees in November?
In October.
Oh, so we're doing both now, okay.
No,
Oh, no, sorry. I'm skipping ahead, I don't want to lose months.
I keep thinking that September is well.
In October.
Yeah, so that was my plan, very much a general brainstorm tonight. We put it together in some sort of format for you to really look at next month, and then decide that that's what you want your work plan to be, maybe kind of calendar it out if need be. Then that would go to council with the staff recommendations to coincide with that for them to review.
So what about if we just came up with 3 very specific and timely things tonight? Or something? Like, is there any scenario by which we could make this good enough to begin work on it at the next
Other
meeting?
than the fact that the agenda says work plan creation will happen at a future meeting on the agenda.
I just thought that meant after council approval, that like work plan
Sure,
creation.
yes,
is
if you
after.
interpret it that way, then, and you come up with 3 very specific things you would like to go to council tonight, then I will say yes.
Okay, got it. So if it's kind of messy tonight, we might need to hone in next week, but if somehow it was very clean tonight, enough that it could go to council, then there is some possibility. Okay, so we'll just see what we come up with and go from there. All right, what do we have for excited visions?
Just maybe a broad overview, kind of introductory point before we get into the nitty-gritty. Because I've already confessed that I'm a lawyer, you'll forgive me for referring to laws, but there are 2 other laws that apply, and Carrie is kind of very helpful. We can run down the City Council's resolution that establishes us with its kind of broad language about our mission. There's also state law in the government code that I passed out. We've discussed before, I think folks remember, but that's a set of laws that regulate what local human relations commissions must do or can do. So that's another source for us to consult and consider. And then, of course, the other thing that we discussed before is the Civil Rights Ordinance of the Davis Municipal Code, which establishes certain functions for us with respect to complaints of discrimination, inquiry, and attempts to resolve those kind of things. So just that extra background in terms of what is our kind of overall charge. Because the council has acted with respect to the ordinance, I think that's, I would think, within the council designated functions that have already been approved. But we can talk about that more later. Anyway, just wanted to add that additional information.
Madam Acting Chair, if I may just to comment on that, we've had several meetings with our city attorney on this, and who has a different interpretation of specifically what this commission is about. And I'm going to be honoring what our city attorney says is the charge of this commission, and I appreciate and respect that you see it in a broader way than our city attorney does. So just know that the council is going to be focusing on the ordinance here and what the charges are described in the ordinance. And I don't want to get into it further than that because we spent hours with our city attorney on this issue. And this isn't the place to go there. So
And the
thank you.
differentiation would only matter if there were items that we wanted to do that didn't fit into the charge that you've already given us that fit the broader or the.
Well, for example, it's turning this into a place that does investigations of civil rights violations. That's
Actually-
not happening. So,
Well, if I may,
So,
can I just
let's-
check, council member, because I'm not referring to the government code with respect to that obligation. That obligation is actually in the Davis Civil Rights Ordinance, right?
okay, let's see what you all want to do, not what one
I'm just
commissioner wants to
trying to
do.
get clarity on
That's, let's hear from the commissioners.
I'll just quickly remind commissioners that the civil rights ordinance suggestions that came from the commission went through staff and are with the city attorney right now for review. It is, I think they've had other pressing matters, but they have received, the city attorney's office has received some proposed edits and changes, both that the commission made and with staff review so it's in their hands right now. I'll let you know when that comes back to us.
that. It's helpful clarification. Thanks, Carrie. Just for clarity though, I wanted to make it abundantly clear that what I was referencing is an existing code, not any proposed changes.
Okay, so return to any work that people want to bring forward from last year or any specific tasks that we might be interested in. And I have only one, but I am not.
Hi, I would like to continue work on our Sanctuary City subcommittee, which would include reaffirming the City of Davis as a sanctuary city, updating our Yellow Border City Resource Card, which has not been updated since 2017, work on a one-time publication filled with Know Your Rights information and resources that the City of Davis and Yolo County has available to the public, education for local businesses about their rights and ways they can support people in their community, and education for city staff, education and training for city staff regarding immigrant rights and protections.
Okay, so I heard a general overview of Sanctuary City, and then I really appreciate the specific list of tasks. And if it comes to you like that, then you can see the list of tasks very specifically stated by Felix.
And beyond, I want to convey to the council as well, is there an interest of all of you to be doing that? I want to make sure that you've got the bandwidth to be doing it, because I know their bandwidth being what it is. I just want to make sure you're very clear as to what you're willing to write it, you're willing to do or whatever it might be. I think it's laudable, fabulous, and thank you. Just be very clear that you've got the time and to convey that to us so that we know, oh great, all 7 of you are going to be working on this. Fabulous, or all 3 of you, or all 1 of you, I don't know. Just let me hear that from you all in your discussion tonight.
Yeah, I'm very supportive of it. I think that it was important work to start last spring, and frankly, I think it's one of the top priorities that we have right now as a community. And I think it very much falls under the purview of what we're doing here as a commission. And I just really appreciate, Felix, the thought that you put into not only having kind of like this broader mission statement, but really like breaking it down to how can we accomplish the goals. And it feels like really building off of the work that the subcommittee started last spring. So yeah, I fully endorse it.
Definitely, and I think not doing it leaves us really vulnerable to the erosion of what we currently have in our society. The relationship between the people in the city and law enforcement will go away if we don't do something soon.
The only two items I were going to propose are on the list that Felix said already, and I brought a publication that if the whole council, if the whole commission works on it, or if a small group works on it, and I hear Linda saying very much that there's not staff energy and time for creating for revising the yellow card or for creating anything that went out to the city, so I do think we would really maybe want to be putting a majority of our commission energy into this list of things, if that's what we want to put forward, because it does sound like a lot of person power, putting together so my second thing was the meeting with local businesses, which was Connor Corman's idea that we didn't get to follow through on last year, but creating some kind of a forum for local businesses or a Zoom, or I don't know what it would be, just to like explain their rights in terms of all the ways that they could support immigrants. And so just that would take a lot of work and planning.
And I just want to clarify too, I mean, I'm one person out of the five. And so if we are three of my colleagues want to say, no, I want our staff writing this stuff and doing this stuff, that's going to happen. I just want to be respectful of what I know is going on here. And that's why I wanted to make sure to hear that, there's true consensus here on doing some of these things or all of these things. And happy to take that through the staff report and such to my colleagues, but I'm not the one setting what they're going to do or not do. I just want to be cognizant of that and cognizant of your time as well. So thanks.
I appreciate that. Other thoughts?
I'm definitely in support of this. So, I work with refugees and I know what they're going through. So this is something very important.
Likewise. I think I gave a very overly long speech in support of this suggestion last year, last term.
All right, so I hear that we all like this idea, and we are all acknowledging that it would take some bandwidth from us. Are there other big ideas that people have, or do we want to start with this as the work for the year? I mean, I could even envision this being multiple ad hoc committees, because some people would work on the working with businesses, and some people would revise the yellow card, and some people would be creating, a newsletter or whatever it is. So it could really be enough work for all of us on top of our planning committees, I think. But if anybody has a burning concern about something else or something that feels unresolved from last year, I don't want to squash that either. Kevin?
Yeah, I think I just want to take the opportunity, since we have Councilman Burdeos here, as the liaison, being one of five, as she mentioned, nevertheless, our liaison. I'd like to hear what you would like us to do, Councilmember.
I'd love for you to work to bring the community together. I like to work on love and not hate. I think those are laudable things to be doing. You guys have done such a fabulous job putting together the events that you're already putting people on committees for. I think that's great. I too agree that there's things happening in the world, our country, our region, that need to be, but I would love to see addressed. I think this is the perfect place to do that, that Felix brought up the list of things there. But again, I urge you, caution you not to take on too much, because then it won't get done. And then there'll just be the frustration of we not doing it. And so this idea that you had, maybe this is the big thing that we do, along with the other things you've already committed to doing, that's might be what you do. And I don't know, nothing else has come up yet as far as, we want to do this and this and this. Just be aware of the time commitment that that's going to take. So I'm very pleased with what y'all want to work on and where you're all coming from. I think it's fabulous.
I think I just want to support this idea of a possibility, not to say that something else wouldn't come up later in the year for you guys to want to put forward to council, but this sort of overall theme and the idea of breaking it up into, smaller committees to work on a variety of things. As I look at this and I look at your functions, I think Felix had mentioned education for businesses, and then Lainey tagged onto that to say, a forum, so that in of itself is sort of planning event, if you will, for lack of a better word, and that really could take quite a bit of time and resources. So, you know, there is really some thought into here of you know, community resources, you know, maybe subcommittee, and then a sort of public education forum subcommittee, and what that looks like, you know, in terms of maybe there's one for businesses and one for this. It could be a couple of different forums that you know, want to do throughout the year, and then tie into some of those other things. So I think I really do want to support that idea. It's not really one that I can recall that the commission's done before, was sort of taking a specific theme and carried it out through the year with a variety of different things, but I think it could work well. So.
I would maybe add to that, because I think it fits well with this public education and just like accessibility of information, is picking up on the work around the webpage review and thinking about how can we integrate it, but right, this would be one piece of it, but maybe thinking a little bit broader as well. But I think it definitely kind of still fits under that umbrella project that we're talking about. Can I ask a quick, totally different question to Lainey and Amir, because we're coming back around to fall. Your city holiday observances committee from last year, it always felt like that was like open, like it wasn't quite done. Was there work that you all envisioned at the end of the event last December that you wanted to see happen this year?
Personally, myself, I would say that I am pursuing privately some of the things that are more important to me, adding stuff. So I don't, you know, I never thought that we need to change drastically. And the fact is that, you know, last year we barely met. So we met just a couple of times. So I think that reflected the, you know, the bandwidth that we had to deal with it. And me personally, I think that what Felix just suggested, that sounds like a big theme for the year, and that would be higher priority for me.
Yeah, I agree with Amir. I mean, I think we suggested some things, and Carrie sort of was already in communication with Jenny Tan, and they were able to just change a few things that we felt like just kind of opened it up a little bit. And then we all attended the event, and it was lovely, and we felt really good about it. And like Amir said, the only thing we thought about is like, could we add, like other cities do, you know, represent, you know, Hanukkah when it happens in some visual way, or, you know, that there are ways that maybe we could expand some things, but they weren't really exactly related to the winter holidays necessarily. And it sounds like, I mean, I wanted to like support you if we wanted to keep doing that, but it sounds like you're maybe pursuing that in other ways. And so I agree. I like just really sticking, like really trying to do one thing and do it really well, aside from our 3 big events, which is already a lot. But I like the idea of just really all of us diving into different elements of Sanctuary City and seeing if we just can't explore what other cities are doing really thoroughly and do a few, you know, impactful things this year. So yeah, I'm happy to let that go, and I appreciate that you cared enough to like notice that we didn't quite finish our work.
It was always like open in the back of my mind, and so thank you for that closure that you have given me.
There was like a thing where there was a survey that was put out, and we were sort of thought we were waiting for the results to see the survey, to see what people thought. But anyway, I'm happy to let that go and move on to, like Amir said, more powerful things. All right, so how would it be if Felix restated that list for us as a motion, and somebody seconded it, and that is the work plan we would like to propose to the city, and we don't need to wait until next month to do it because we did it.
Because you guys are awesome.
And can we add webpage review to your list?
Webpage review?
Does that mean the HR, what do you mean by that exactly? Because I think there's like our HRC, I don't quite see how it fits.
I think, or I guess more thinking about how are we like organizing and presenting information to the public. specifically on Sanctuary City, but I do think that we have some outstanding resources that aren't directly under that Sanctuary City umbrella that we could be doing a better job of making accessible to the public. And so at the point where we're thinking about public communication in general, I think it would make sense to have one of the subcommittees like be thinking about that.
The only concern, I absolutely believe in the value of everything that you just said, and my only concern is I heard Linda say like that could things that could take a lot of staff time might not be easy for them to commit staff time to. So I'm like wondering how like if, I mean, maybe we just like wait and bring this one up next month, or maybe you could say more specifically. I think we need to be really clear on what we're asking for, otherwise they might look at it and be like,
well,
we do our whole.
I believe, I believe that we discussed this the last time, but the original resolution included mention of signage that was supposed to be around the city. And I think we came to the conclusion that all we know of is somewhere there's a city sign that says Davis is a sanctuary city, and there was nothing more.
So it's just specifically the webpage about Sanctuary City.
Yeah.
We could also consider, if we want it to be a little bit broader and have more flexibility there, we could say like, right, part of our work plan is doing this studying and make recommendations, right? That's all we can do. We can't actually redo the website or redo something, but we can make recommendations based on how we're understanding what is working, what is not working, right? So like, at least that's how I understand it in terms of staff time. It's, you make recommendations, and if it's not picked up, it's not picked up.
I think so. I think I am also struggling a little bit to understand how this would fall under sort of the theme of Sanctuary City, unless we're specifically focused on the webpage dedicated to Sanctuary City and the Human Relations Commission, which has resources. So I'm trying to draw an excess of maybe recommendations could be made for the city webpage to further draw attention to resources, et cetera, that are available, something like that? Or maybe this is a totally separate item.
I wonder if we can just open it up a little and be like, we're studying and making recommendations around like public education involving existing resources. Right, it's what we'd be looking at is the communication aspect of it.
I can see that, and then part of the public communication aspect would be maybe some thoughts on what could be updated on the city webpage.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that work
Can we
for everybody
word
else?
that if it's
Public
worded like?
communication, including possible updates to the city website.
I think that sounds great.
Okay. Okay, so, sorry, I am noticing that it is 8:27. I know we have at least one commissioner that really does need to try to leave on time tonight. And so I'm not exactly sure how to proceed. I think we should go ahead and wrap up this item because we are there. And then the only thing left after that is long-range calendar, which I think could almost be a consent item because until we have a work plan approved by the city, we can't really put things on a long-range calendar in terms of assigning dates for things. So let's go ahead and hear out loud one more time what it is that we're voting on, and then we will say, we will vote to make sure we are all in agreement, and Linda can hear, and Linda can tell the whole council, everybody on the commission agrees and wants to do this, and she's going to help us put
Now,
that
this-
feeling forward.
This would not be a subcommittee though, because it would include work from every member of the
Right.
commission.
It's just a
So-
work plan, they don't have to worry
Work
about
plan,
how the
that's the
committees
word.
are.
And then if
I
it's
was looking for.
approved, then at the next meeting, you guys could then decide how you want to break up the work, and then have many kind of subcommittees tasked with, a couple of different, items, whether it be, forums or publications or whatever, however you want to do that.
So I move to create a Sanctuary City work plan, which includes an update to the Yellow Border City Resources card. Well, firstly, reaffirming Sanctuary City status. Then updating the Yellow Border City Resource card. Work on a one-time publication, newspaper, or informational guide education and engagement with local businesses regarding their rights and information as to how can they support their community members. Education and training for city staff regarding immigrants' rights and protections. And public communication, including updates to the city website.
Can I have a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it is unanimous. Okay, and we can always add work throughout the year. This is not our only opportunity to create work for ourselves. I have no doubt we will do more of that later. But for now, I feel really good about us being off to a solid start.
Can I ask a super quick question about that though? If there are issues that come up over the year that we feel like we want to address as a commission, where would we even bring that up in the agenda? In the long range section?
Long range section,
Okay.
which will always be there. Okay, all right. What do we do now about the fact that at least one person really needs to leave and we have one item left that isn't very substantial?
You will still have a quorum if one person leaves, so you could take a quick public comment on long range, and that could be the end of that item before you adjourn.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna move on to item 7. We are right at time. This is future agenda items and long-range calendar. And so this is where eventually we will be able to pick and choose which month we're looking at what things, what are the most urgent kind of subcommittees that need to check in, what work could wait, try to give ourselves sort of a manageable workload for any given meeting. And Carrie has already done a beautiful job of putting in the standing work that we do on the long-range calendar. So unless anybody has any suggested adjustments to this lovely orangey chart, I think we can just basically say that what we're going to do once we have an approved work plan from the city council is go kind of add to that with the new work that we're creating for ourselves. So let's take public comments on long-range calendar.
Thank you so much. And Felix, thank you so much for bringing sanctuary cities. What that talks about is the key. We are having people disappearing off our streets. That's what's going on here. That has to take precedent over just about everything. First they came for X, and they came for Y, they came for Z. I don't know who that's going to be. We know it's going to be this time. So thank you so much. And I think any urgency on that in terms of making that. Because right now, our complacency, because they're not picking us up, we're all just like the Germans who were pretty quiet when only 0.5% of the population were picked up because they were Jewish or Romance people. We need to basically make that right. So thank you for making that a priority, and thank you for raising that up in the community.
Thank you for your comment. All right, open to commissioner discussion. Did I miss anything about what we might do with this item right now? Or do we just all recognize it is there and know that next month we will hopefully be in a position to add more specificity to it? Great. I consider this meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
So close to that.